Nippon Ichi Software is perhaps best known as the developer of the Disgaea series, a series of strategy RPGs going back to Disgaea Hour of Darkness on the PS2 in 2003. They've steadily increased in popularity over the past 20 years or so, with Disgaea 7 releasing in 2023. And I'm not really into these games, to be perfectly honest. Don't get me wrong, I know for a fact this is more of a personal taste thing. There isn't any rational reason, and it's not like I hate the games or anything. This is going to sound like kind of a weird complaint, but the games are just too colourful. I tried to play Disgaea 5 years ago, and I just found that it wasn't for me. The art style was just too bubbly and upbeat for me.
You'll meet a bunch of awesome characters in this story of vengeance, including the game's hero, Killia, and his slew of allies. As the complete Disgaea experience...
I then tried a demo for Disgaea 6 when that came out, and came to much the same conclusion. Maybe one of these days the series will win me over, but hasn't been able to as of yet. Either way, Nippon Ichi is a well-respected developer with a number of games under their belt. To name just a few: the Rhapsody series, Trinity Universe, the La Pucelle series, The Witch and the Hundred Knight, and so on. They also publish games by other Japanese developers, with Grim Grimoire by Vanillaware being one example. The US branch of NIS America, publish NIS's games in North America and Europe, but they've also published games by other Japanese developers in the West. For recent years, they published most of Falcom's games in the West, for example. So I'm trying something a little bit different today. I'm not going to be able to do a full review, let's say, of this game, but I'm going to take a look at it. This is the Japan-only game, Stella Abyss, which released earlier this year and was released by Nippon Ichi Software. Stella Abyss was released on February 29, 2024 for PS5, PS4 and Nintendo Switch. The game was described by NIS as a roguelike strategy RPG with character design by Mio Katsumatsu. Shunsoki Minowa served as development manager, and Yui Mitsukami was the game's art director. So the game starts out with this unnamed character walking down an alleyway when they find a letter in a mysterious bar. The character is simply known as the Wanderer. In a drunken stupor, he loses his face and one of his arms. To get these back, he must head into the drunken world. But he isn't the only one who's lost something. During the journey, you'll meet a number of bar patrons. While in the bar, you can have conversations, share a drink with these guests, and while the guests talk about their lives and problems, it's up to you to respond accordingly in a way that will keep the conversation going. When you successfully complete one conversation, these patrons will join your party and you'll be able to have them join you in the drunken world. You can also give presents to your friends or have a drink by yourself. The cocktails you drink will impact your stats as you go through the drunken world, and the drinks you share with your friends will also impact their stats. The story starts when we see the main character walking down an alleyway. When they find a piece of paper, which is an invite to the bar, he's given a drink and he finds himself in the drunken world. This wanderer is awoken by Tipsy, a small creature who welcomes wanderers into the world. The world is infested by monsters, and after doing a few floors as a tutorial, you'll be sent back to the bar. This is when you start talking to some of the other bar patrons and making some friends. As I mentioned, you talk to the other customers, and your responses will determine your bond with them and their ability in battle. The first companion we meet is Leona, a college student. She comes to the bar as she enjoys the peaceful atmosphere, and she finds the pub she goes to for college parties to be too rowdy. She's from a wealthy family, but she's very nice and helpful to the wanderer in their journey to get their arm and face back.
さまよいさんもきっと何か趣味とか特技とかあるんじゃないですか？急には思いつきませんよね。
Going back into the dream world, we'll be able to take Leona with us. After battling a while, climbing up the floors and collecting some abilities along the way, you'll see a device that allows you to travel back to the bar, and you'll be able to return straight to this floor when you next come exploring. Going back to the bar, you'll have the chance to prepare a bit before going back into the dungeon. You'll have this skill tree where you can unlock different drinks with different attributes.
And tell us what kind of cocktail we're going to make.
Black & Decker coconut cocktail.
Another corporate plug tonight, all right.
Another one.
I also met 2 more bar patrons. I met Ginga. He's a university student who was a protege when it comes to football. He's been drifting away a bit from football though, as he's been busy with other things such as his studies and his love life. There's also Cass, or Castan. She's a self-proclaimed idol streamer who exposes the darkness of the world. She also carries around a stuffed animal called Purple, which she'll sometimes talk to.
私のことはキャスタンと呼びたまえ。誰だってそう呼ぶ。キャスタンもそう呼ぶ。
What's up, guys? Mr. Beer here.
I went back into Drunken World, and another thing to note is you'll meet different party members on these floors. You'll be able to have a maximum of 2 party members with you at a time, and you'll be able to swap one out if you want to recruit someone else. And this is where I get into a difficult thing. I got to the final floor of the dungeon and I had to face the boss. This might be just because of the language barrier, but I found it very difficult. The boss has some extra enemies that he summons. As the Wanderer, I tried to do some damage to the boss when, as the other party members, I went to kill the other enemies. The thing I can't seem to get past though is when the boss dismisses the other enemies to add their health onto their own. I could have the boss down to almost half health 1 minute and then the next he's back to full health. I went through the whole dungeon 4 times to give myself the best possible chance, but I couldn't manage. Now of course there's 2 possible scenarios. The language barrier got in my way, I'm an idiot, or maybe it's a mixture of both. But yeah, that's the reason this video is as short as it is, but I found it difficult. So I'm not going to give a review to the game as such because I haven't played all the way through the game, and even if I did, I don't speak any Japanese, so it wouldn't really be fair to critique the game when I don't have an understanding that is kind of expected to play the game. I do have kind of a passing interest in learning a bit of Japanese, so maybe if I do get around to doing that, I'll be more qualified to discuss these Japan-only games. Either way, still good to look at these things, even if it was brief. If you're curious, there is a demo available. You'll just need either a Japanese Nintendo or PSN account, of course. The game does promise more patrons, more exploring, and a mysterious plot in the bar. So I'll leave it there for now, a bit of a shorter one, but let me know what you thought. I'm always interested in some constructive criticism, and I'm looking to improve. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.